Could you please state your full name and describe all of your past and present job titles in law enforcement?
Sure. My name's Lee Hunter. I was hired by the Newtown Township Police Department in 1979. I worked as a street patrolman for approximately 7 years. I was promoted then to sergeant. I was in charge of a 4-man squad. 6 years after that, I was promoted to lieutenant and was second in command, in charge of any criminal investigations, in charge of the patrol division. And then in 1996, June of 1996, I was promoted to the position of chief of police, Newtown Township Police Department. Those are my past and present job titles in law enforcement. Presently, I am, in 2005, I resigned after 27 years on the police department and ran for the position of district magistrate, which is now called the magisterial district judge for Newtown and Edgemont townships. I've been on the bench for approximately 7 years. This is my second term.
Okay. As the lieutenant of police, what was your importance in dealing with the KKK at the rally in Chester, PA during 1994?
At that time, there was an advisory to all the police departments in Delaware County requesting assistance on a date certain, which was on a Saturday morning. The assistance was for additional manpower, was for special weapons and tactical teams, SWAT teams, to be deployed to the Parksburg section of Route 352. That area of highway comprises Brookhaven, Parkside, which leads right into the city of Chester. The Ku Klux Klan had received permission and had received a permit by Brookhaven, the township of Brookhaven, to have a rally on 352. They were granted that permission, and they expected approximately between 300 and 500 Klan members to march up 352, starting at the shopping center in Brookhaven on Route 352. They wanted to close down the highway, so they needed additional manpower to man all the different intersections. They needed manpower to be on the rooftops, to prevent any snipers from shooting down on the march. They had canine units from all different areas of the city and state and the county. They had canine units and officers from the prison to use as crowd control. And all this was to prevent problems from happening if there was additional riots caused by the march or any type of violence that would be a public uprising against the Ku Klux Klan. So we all met. There was over 1,000 police officers that met. We were all sworn in at the same time in Brookhaven as special police under the authority of the chief of police of Brookhaven. We were given our assignments, and we all had our riot gear on, riot helmets, riot protection on in case of any public uprising at our particular posts. When the march began, it started out very peacefully, although there were bystanders on the side of the road, shouting remarks at the Ku Klux Klan and disparaging remarks, of course. And about halfway through the march, when they were heading south on 352 towards Chester, another group of protesters, they didn't have their non-permitted group, were marching from Chester towards the Ku Klux Klan. It was the American Communist Party. They wanted to have an all-out physical confrontation with the Ku Klux Klan. I happened to be right in that vicinity where the activity started to meet, where the group started to meet. At that time, we called in additional manpower. The horses were brought out of their vans from the Pennsylvania State Police horse detail. They marched their horses between the two groups and broke up the confrontation. Seemed like the horses were doing more than were doing the best thing they could possibly do. I mean, that was the best thing that could possibly happen to people. The marchers, the Ku Klux Klan didn't want to have anything to do with the horses, nor did they want to have anything to do with the canine units that were also deployed to that specific zone to keep the two segments apart. We had a problem with there was one individual on a rooftop that had a fully loaded .45 automatic. He was arrested at the scene. He was spotted by an overhead Pennsylvania State Police helicopter who was just at rooftop level. You kind of felt like you were in a war zone at that particular time. So the American Communist Party turned and went back into Chester. They marched back into Chester. The Ku Klux Klan rally ended right there in Parkside. They dispersed, picked up by vehicles and buses, and left the area. There was injuries to police officers. There was injuries to police officers. There was a couple of state troopers that were knocked over and hurt by the horses. There was some shoving and pushing of the two groups and breaking those fights up. Some police officers were bruised, and I don't believe anybody needed medical attention other than the ones that were hit and stepped on by the horses. So that was an interesting day. Could have been more violent, but because of the manpower that was deployed and the readiness of the forces there, we were able to keep the violence down to a minimum.
My last question, did you agree with your position as a law enforcer as defending the Ku Klux Klan? Why or why not?
I believe the Ku Klux Klan or any group has a right to assemble, have a right to a peaceful protest or peacefully state their goals and their mindset in certain things. I didn't totally agree at that time with closing down a major highway for this march. 352 is a major highway. It runs into the city and out of the city of Chester, and as well as a major thoroughfare from communities in the lower end of Delaware County. Closing down the entire highway I thought was unnecessary, it was unwarranted, unsafe, and wasn't the proper thing to do. To make it inconvenient for the people in that community, especially on Saturday afternoon when people want to go shopping and have their weekend activities. So that was the only thing I disagree with closing down a major highway. How if they wanted to use a parking lot or they wanted to use another area of the township where it wouldn't interfere with traffic and the general goings on of the community, I would have had no problems with them. Can't say I agree with the Ku Klux Klan. Of course I don't. But they, under the Constitution, have a right to rally and to march and to protest. But again, the only thing I would disagree was with what they were allowed to do and where they were allowed to do it.
All right, that's all. I just want to say thank you for your time, and hope this can help our group.
Sure, great.
Thank you.
Very welcome. My pleasure.